of the band and an interview with their lead singer Shane McGowan, as well as Elvis Costello, who produced their second album, Rum, Sodomy and the Lash. Elvis first came into contact with the Pogues when he invited them to appear on a British tour with him a few years ago. Shortly after that, they released their first album, Red Roses for Me. And now, Elvis, who's returned to his real name, Declan McManus, has just married Caitlin O'Riordan of the Pogues. I'll leave you with this unusual French perspective of Irish rock and roll, and see you on Tuesday night with Hunters and Collectors. Bye-bye.
In the old days, you paid the price to play rock and roll. You'd get run out of town or pushed over a cliff. The corporate world, when they figured out what it was and how to use it, they snuffed the breath out of it. It's a billion-dollar business. It used to be, they were very much afraid, you know, like hide your daughters, that sort of thing. Elvis, Little Richard, Chuck Berry, they all struck fear into the heart. It's all been neutralized. Nothing threatening, nothing magical, nothing challenging.
Jimmy played a one again, the pub where I was born. He played it from the night times and a peaceful early morn. He said the souls of sailors, the man who has the horn. They all look very happy in the morning. But Jimmy didn't learn his life in this world. For the album member, Thomas actually had so many cars. Just after seeing the grieving of the people in the blue. He took the road for goodness in the morning. We walked into the station in the rain. We kissed as we came on the train. And we sang him a song, the time's long gone. All year that we were singing again. I sang to say I must be on my way. So I may bear a whiskey cause we're going far away. Far away! To think I'll be returning when I can. To the greatest little booze and the sunny might run. The years of by the times have changed, I grew to be a man. I learned about the virtues of the sunny Macklin. I took the chairs and drank the beers and crawled back home at dawn. And ended up a barman in the morning. I played the pump and took the hump and wouldn't whiskey down. I took the moves and horses through the mill, drank the brown. I heard the sight of Jimmy's making money far away. Some people left for heaven without warning. We walked into the station in the rain. We kissed them as we put them on the train. And we sang them a song, the time's long gone. All we knew that we'd be singing again. I sang to say I must be on my way. So buy me beer and whiskey cause I'm going far away. Now I like to think I'll be returning when I can. To the greatest little boozer like the sunny Macklin. When Jimmy came back home, he was surprised they were gone. He asked me all the details of the train that they went on. Some people there scared to cough, but Jimmy drank until he choked. Took the road for heaven in the morning. We went to the station in the right. And we kissed him as we put him on the train. And we sang him a song, the time's long gone. But we knew that we'd be singing again. Sad to say I must be on my way. So buy me beer and whiskey cause I'm going far away. Far away! To think I'll be returning when I can. To the greatest little boozer and the sunny Macklin.
I mean, the Irish thing is just because, like, three members of the band at that time were, like, you know, from Irish families and knew a few songs and all that. And everybody in the band liked that sort of stuff, and, like, you could hear it anywhere. Like, I mean, it wasn't like you don't have to be Irish to know Irish music if you live in London, you know what I mean, or from an Irish family or whatever, you know. And it was just an idea that somebody, you know, we just had this idea and we tried it, you know. And the next thing we bloody knew, we had to think of a name. And the problem started.
How did you find your name right away?
Well, it's an obvious name to think of if you just... It was just a name sort of on the spur of a moment because we had our first gig the next day. and we hadn't thought of a name yet. Or we had thought of millions, but he hadn't agreed on one. So I just said, stuff it, call it Pogue my own, you know, which means kiss my ass. And I think it was Spider's idea. It definitely wasn't my idea.
People in London said your music shouldn't be quoted as Irish music, but as London Irish music.
Well, it isn't either,
yeah.
you know, it's a mixture of loads of different things, you know, I mean, it's a big, there's a big rock element in it, you know, there's a lot of rock and roll and punk sort of, there's all sorts of stuff in there, you know, but yeah, I mean, it isn't people who've been, it isn't people playing it, I mean, there is, now, right, there is one person in the band who's like, you know, a pretty good sort of traditional musician, you know, quite a famous one, you know, if you're into Irish traditional music, you know what I mean? But generally we're just people who just played instruments, you know, and like, so in that sense, yeah, I mean, it isn't that it's London Irish or anything like that, it's just that it's, people playing something on a very basic level, you know, which can be taken to a really, you know, high level, you know, like people like the Chieftains are, you know, incredibly, you know, technically gifted musicians, you know, and that. But what we were going for from the start was the balls and the, whatever you call it, the feel, you know what I mean? And because there's something in the groove, it works somehow, you know, the feel, you get chemistry, whatever you call it, you know.
So you think that's only one more label to do?
Yeah, there's millions of labels. I mean, you can toss them around all afternoon, but I mean, none of them, they're just labels, you know. You know what I mean?